first off, I know I look like shit, and that's because I've been crying a lot because Stinky has been missing since we think Sunday afternoon now. In the first couple of days I was like, oh, because he's done that before. I think the longest he's done is the night though. I haven't seen him for a night, and it's a lot longer than night. So I guess on Monday and Tuesday I was just pretending it wasn't happening, and today I'm like, oh fuck, he's really not here anymore, and I'm sad, but that's okay. Of course I'm sad, but the thing is that I was just thinking about it like just a minute ago, and Teddy's here too, purring away and being gorgeous. Because I was having a cup of tea and I was having some biscuits and also a packet of crisps, and I was just sobbing away in eating. And then I almost choked on the crisp because it's actually quite hard to cry and eat. And I was kind of like, why am I crying and eating? I can't even taste the food. And I was like, well, fuck it, whatever. I carried on. And then it struck me as just how different that would have been as to when I had anorexia. Oh, there's no fucking way. Like, if my cat had gone missing, I would have just been starving myself out of, I don't know, this weird thing that I had going on, that whenever something like that happened and I was grieving or sad about something, this weird thought would be in my head that, like, in order to show how much I loved the cat, I had to starve myself because it would be wrong for me to be carrying on and eating when I'm upset. So I had to, like, prove how upset I was by starving myself. That's really... it's just tiring even thinking about that shit. The stupid shit that my head used to use as ammunition to make me not want to eat. And it would, it would also, that sort of thing would happen, say, if something went wrong, if I made a mistake, and that I would just always be like, right now I'm not going to eat, just to... I don't even know why. I guess any excuse, right? When you have anorexia, any excuse to restrict food you're going to take. But I would turn it into a whole sort of morning ritual that I basically restricted. And I've also worked with clients that have done exactly the same thing. And say when a relative dies, oh, I'm really upset and I'm really sad. It's like, well, of course you are. So, I can't eat. I'm like, no, wait a minute. That's not how this goes. You don't get to use that as an excuse to restrict, because let's face it, that's what it is, isn't it? It's using your grief as an excuse to restrict, which when you think about it, that's really not how to honor someone or something that you loved. Do you really think that if somebody close to you dies, that's what they'd want and that's what would make them happy? It's not. It's not about the other person at all when you're doing stuff like that. It's actually all about you. And that's the thing with eating disorders. They make everything all about us. They make us so self-absorbed. And so my mum's best friend, who was like an auntie to me, we used to call her auntie, she died when I had anorexia. And of course, I was upset. I absolutely was upset. But I absolutely did use it as an excuse to restrict even more, telling myself, well, if I'm that upset, then I shouldn't be eating. So I justify it in my head, but it was all about me and an excuse to restrict. It was turning that person's death into something about me, which when I look back on it, I'm like, that's just not okay. Because it was nothing to do with her, because she was one of the people alongside my mother more than anybody who cared about me a lot and wanted me to eat. So this fucked up justification that our brains do when we have an eating disorder. Anyway, so what I'm glad to say is that now, fully recovered, if something really sad happens, I just eat a fuckload of chocolate. And I think it does make me feel better. I'm really glad that I can do that. I'm glad that I can be sad and properly be sad, and be sad and kind of look after myself, you know? Be sad and just eat more chocolate than usual, do less than usual, like give myself that time to properly be sad. So, you know how people say even like the worst day in recovery is better than the best day with an eating disorder? It's just been a pretty fucking bad day, and I'm still glad I don't have an eating disorder, because I can wallow in food and it makes me feel better. So anybody out there that's having a bad day, just go and eat something. Eat something really nice and gooey and fatty and sweet. Look after yourself. Food does serve many functions. It's not just fuel. Food does cheer us up. That's not emotional eating. That's eating in a very justified, designed way. It's not a vice. But eating when you're feeling sad, eating to cheer yourself up. I know it gets labelled emotional eating. It's just eating, because food serves a lot of functions for us, and it's not just fuel. Food serves a lot of psychological functions as well, and so don't look at that as a vice. It's an important part of your relationship with food, to allow it to fulfill many of the roles that it holds in your life. It's not just fuel, it's a lot more than that. All right, I'm gonna go now. Probably gonna cry a bit more. Bye.